And a very good morning. Welcome to TJN Live, the Jesus Network. I'm Dave Adams, and we are broadcasting live from downtown Bend. And today we're broadcasting from the Common Table, which is a unique dining experience here in Central Oregon and in downtown Bend. And with us today, guests on the show, we have Bob Pearson, who is manager of Common Table, and Tom Farley, the interim executive director of the Common Table. Now, there's a lot of food pantries and efforts out there to feed those less fortunate, but the Common Table has a unique perspective in that it's a combination dining experience, standard restaurant, but it also has an effort to reach out to the people who need a helping hand and who need a meal in these days of challenging economic times. So, Tom, explain to me exactly what Common Table is.
What we've tried to do is create a space where people of different social class and an economic ability can share a common table. Great food, sustainable local food, but not separated, but actually can eat and meet and greet in one place. This mission has flown from a reflection on the scriptures about welcoming the stranger. And often here in Bend, as well as many places in the United States, people end up in their own social group. And there aren't very many locations, much less where you sit down and eat together, where those boundaries can be crossed. Yeah. So the Common Table, we've tried to create a place, hospitable, welcoming, for that exchange, that community building to happen.
The Bible talks about fellowship and breaking bread one with another, and so you're trying to do that here. One of the things that we were mentioning before we went on the air was that when I was in New Zealand, one of the interesting cultural observations I made was that it seemed to be easier just for the man on the street who might be homeless to be speaking with a lawyer or an attorney or somebody making a six-figure income. Here in the United States, we tend to have a little bit more of a class distinction, and that's only normal because we like to associate with people who have like interests. But when we really want to reach out to our fellow man, that can be a challenge.
Yes, and when societies were smaller, when we were hunter-gatherers or tribal or Bedouin, the stranger was more self-evident. Today, when we're surrounded by so many people, we naturally form into smaller groups. And so this is a very intentional experiment, one of 16 in the United States, nonprofit restaurants, to create a safe, welcoming, hospitable place for that bridge to take place.
Now, the title you have there is a nonprofit restaurant. Bob, let's talk about that. What is the image that you want to get out there? Or if you could say, this is the message we most need to stress to the community, what would that be?
Well, as you said, we're a nonprofit restaurant, but clearly we're a restaurant. We offer a full bar, we have a full menu, we do lunch and dinner. Our food is fabulous, our quality is excellent. We try and stress healthy local food. So you compare us with any other cafe, restaurant, place to eat in town, we are much better quality than most of the fast food restaurants. We are much lower prices than the high-end restaurants, but we deliver a quality product. It's only through the people that come in to actually pay for their meals that allows our whole business model to work. So we have to create an environment that is welcoming and acceptable for those who want to enjoy a nice meal, just come in and eat, enjoy friends, have a drink, and move on. But it allows us then to have the excess resources to meet the needs of a community that could not afford normally to buy that quality of food. Some people say that we should, buy gift certificates to McDonald's and hand them out to people on the street, and that's not healthy food. It's not what they really need. They prefer to come in and have, great salad or a nice sandwich or bowl of soup that meets their needs nutritionally and have an atmosphere where they have dignity and respect. A lot of quote food pantries or soup kitchens have the people on one side of the counter who are receiving the food and others who may have resources dishing the food out to them, but there's not a lot of community created there. Whereas at Common Table, it's all about people sitting across from the table from people they might normally not engage in their daily activities.
That's a good point. And as we try to solve the issues and challenges that some people in our society are having today, if we can know more about them sitting at a common table and learning about their experiences, then we have a better insight and what it's going to take to solve those problems.
Right. So offering connectional environment, dignity and respect, community, allows people to feel that they are now part of the human race instead of just sneaking around the corner, getting a little bit of food at a soup kitchen and then moving on. We have soft seating, we have Wi-Fi, we have resources of connectional capabilities. We're now giving out free socks. Somebody donated 7,000 pairs of socks to us that are now free to give out. So we have things like that available that you wouldn't find in a normal restaurant, but it's not blatantly, out here as a thrift store or that kind of thing. So it's just part of our mission to provide the resources we have to everybody at all different economic levels, because we are all equally human beings, no matter what our economic situation might be.
Okay. If you'd like to call us and if you have a question or comment, our phone number 541-280-8833, 541-280-8833. So whose idea was Common Table?
Well, I think the reflection began in the Presbyterian Church here in Bend of what could we do, something that's unique to form, to expand the community of those who interact with each other, the basis of which being an expression of the love of God, that you can't say you love God if you don't love your brother. Mm-hmm. So it was a reflection on how can we better love our neighbor, from which this experiment began. And it was a discernment process that I know Bob was part of, that was over like 4 years and involved some other congregations as well.
It's actually been almost 5.5 years since we first had conversations about this.
What can we do to increase this expression of hospitality?
How long have you been in business?
This October 1st is our first anniversary.
So 1 year.
So it'll be 1 year in a couple of weeks.
Now, it's been very, very challenging for some businesses. This is a joke, but maybe not quite so funny. Some businesses that are for-profit are actually somewhat non-profit right now because we're in very challenging economic times. Have you guys noticed a bit of a stress there as far as just trying to keep the doors open? And a lot of nonprofits that we're talking to are mentioning, it's challenging. They're doing it, but it's difficult.
Well, part of the underlying premise of Common Table was to create a sustainable nonprofit environment. Mm-hmm. And by sustainability, that means where the community itself rises up the resources to help fund the services that we provide. So by people coming in to eat, that gives us the resources to provide food to others and to provide the space to others. Yes, it's a challenge right now because even in Central Oregon, our unemployment is still well over 10%. We have businesses that are struggling. The amount of money that's available to nonprofits, not only through corporations, individuals, but the government as well, is going to continue to shrink. Mm-hmm. So the model, I think, has great promise, but the times we're in right now put stress on that model. Again, what's needed is more people just coming to eat. It's not, we're not asking for major donations. We don't want people just to write checks, but come enjoy a good meal is all it takes to make Common Table successful.
Okay. What's your biggest need right now?
Our biggest need right now is we're actually about ready to go into a difficult period. They're going to do a major remodeling on the outside of our building and put scaffolding up. So we're going to be in business for the next 3 months, but it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to have people walk in our front door. So they'll have a plywood tunnel that'll have to walk a half a block to get through to get into our building. So we need people to recognize we're going to be here, we're going to be open, and to come in and again, enjoy our great food, enjoy our great environment, and enjoy cold beer too.
Yeah, so right behind us you can see the bar there, and it's come in for a drink and a good meal and good conversation. Common table and common food with just everyone here in Central Oregon. One of the things that I was noticing when I was here the other day was you had live music. And so from what I understand, the atmosphere, the ambiance that you want to create is just a friendly environment to come in and share a meal and find out what's going on in people's lives.
Well, you mentioned New Zealand, which, England, New Zealand, and other British colonies have the pub experience, the family, the community location. They gather around the pub. And so Common Table is that for Central Oregon. It's a common place where families, we have a great kids menu, we welcome kids, we have the bar for adults, we have music for young people, we have speakers and events that go on periodically. We've done a lot of fundraising over the last year for both for Common Table and many other causes. In March, we raised over $14,000 for tsunami relief in Japan.
Wow.
In June, we raised nearly $4,000 for Joplin tornado relief. We've raised money for over 20 different nonprofits over the last year. So not only are we here for the needs of the people from the street, we're here for the needs of the whole community. So we are now stitched into the fabric of Central Oregon as a partner for many different organizations.
Right now, we do want to thank our partners for the Jesus Network and EVM Media, as well as Operation Eagle's Wings. Those partners are Webformex and Bentel, who make our internet service possible on both our radio and TV venues that we have here at EVM Media, which is the Jesus Network, Christian News Network, and Operation Eagle's Wings, which is an outreach to veterans. So speaking of veterans, do you have a lot of veterans that come here? Several, few? Are they just kind of mixed in?
We actually don't get much. Most of the veterans in town tend to, who have those needs,
Right.
tend to separate themselves from the society quite a bit. So there's a lot that live in camps outside of town and very, very rarely actually come into town. So there are veterans outreach groups and stuff that take things out to where they are staying that help them. But we get a few. We have some, but it's not a major part of the community that we serve, primarily because they aren't coming downtown.
Okay.
They don't feel welcome here as well. We have had some issues with some of the local businesses who are concerned about what our mission and direction is of attracting people to downtown. That may be less economically viable for their particular businesses. But we've seen very little of that impact. The people are already here, and we don't feel we're enabling or creating a problem. We're trying to address an issue that already exists by giving people a place to be rather than on the street. So we think we're helping the issue, but some businesses locally feel we may be contributing to that. It's kind of a general issue of a perspective that says if you offer services to people, then they will be attracted to those, and you'll get more people coming in if you provide really good capabilities for people that are below the poverty line, living on the street, having special needs. Whereas we feel that those issues are there, and if you are part of the solution, then you should be welcomed and supported, yet some people don't believe that. And so we've had some disagreements with some of our business neighbors in downtown.
Do you feel like that you could be actually part of the answer, because as you show the financially challenged and otherwise that type of our society, if you show them some respect and just sit down and talk with them, that as they feel accepted, that could kind of diffuse some of the problems that could be occurring.
Absolutely. We have numerous stories of people who started out coming in, very disheveled, living on the street, almost antisocial in their behaviors and activities. And they kind of come in and they just come in a few times, and they maybe begin to talk and interact and get a little more confidence, and they may clean up. There are several barbers and beauty shops in town that will offer services for free to this community, and they take advantage of that. And then they come in and they volunteer, and then they volunteer for a while, and they get a job. And we've had numerous stories of people who have moved through that process, starting out just because they were accepted unconditionally when they first walked in the door. And they tested that because it was so unusual that they came several times kind of wary, and then slowly but surely build up the community and the relationships and the acceptance, and then their personal understanding of their who they were as a person. You can see it physically grow within them. And that's an exciting thing to be a part of.
Yeah, we've noticed that as well, as we do outreach to the people that are living on the streets and the financially challenged. As you just show them some respect and just talk to them, they're warming up. And initially, they do try to test you a little bit to see if you're really sincere. So what you're trying to do is the us and the them camp, you're trying to get those to blend together and trying to somewhat erase that dividing line.
Absolutely. And again, we've had multiple instances of that. One of the events we do at Common Table, every Friday morning at 10 a.m., the City Club of Central Oregon puts on Table Talk. And we sit around the Common Table, our beautiful 20-foot long solid walnut table.
Beautiful table.
We have that, and we get anywhere from 5 to 20 people, depending on the Friday, to sit down and talk about a topic of interest to Central Oregon and to Bend. A few weeks ago, we had one on homelessness. We had two of our patrons sitting across the table from Alan Unger, who is the local county commissioner, and talking to each other about what do the homeless really need. And it was an interesting discussion. People from Bethlehem Inn were around the table, who is the local shelter that we have. And there's a plan to do some fairly significant major money investment in some supported housing environments for the homeless. And the two guys across the table said, we don't really need that. What we really need right now is a safe place to pitch our tent. Don't give us a big building and with rules and regulations. Just give us a place that we can be safe in the environment that we're comfortable living in right now. And that was kind of an eye-opening perspective that the people from the government side and the institutional side didn't really seem to understand why that would be enough. They want to do so much more for them, but that's not necessarily what would meet their needs today.
Great point. And that kind of dialogue occurred around the common table.
You know, in the biblical, and really all world religion said the stranger always has a gift for us. And to break down the boundaries between strangers, you simply have to meet one another. So Abraham and Sarah are journeying through the desert, and three strangers show up. By welcoming them, the strangers say that Sarah's going to have a baby in a year.
Right.
And Jesus welcoming the stranger, whether it was the tax collector who was a government person or others, was demonstrated that the stranger has a gift. And first, obviously, the gift is being a fellow human being. And so whether it's a street person or a county commissioner or a beautician, with the common humanity and that person's own experience of it, there's really a lot more in common than we ever know. And unless we sit down and talk, like the City Club did here on homelessness, there's assumptions or presumptions about the other, and the gift is missed. So Common Table tries to create a hospitable place that's safe, around excellent food and one table, for that dialogue about what it means, what the experience of the human condition is, to bridge, to create a common dialogue about human experience.
Common table or a common bridge.
Common bridge.
So one of the biggest things you need now, especially with the construction going to be happening for 2-3 months?
They say 3 months. We'll have scaffolding around the building. They're going to completely take off the facade and then put up a new exterior design. So it's going to take them quite a while to get it done. So we'll be open. We're going to have all of our services available. We also have the opportunity to deliver food locally. We do catering services. We can do takeout meals or deliver directly to your local business, or even group gathering anywhere in town. So use those kind of services would help us a lot. Any thing that supports our financial model allows us to be more effective in our overall plan and goal, which is serving all people.
So if you want a good meal, the advice or the recommendation or the suggestion is that you come down here and eat a common table. Let's talk about the menu. So let's say I just want to come in and buy dinner. What do I expect to find on the menu at Common Table?
Well, we have a variety of items. We all have appetizers. We have soups and salads, sandwiches. We also have entree items. We have, I'm trying to think of some of the things we have now. We have
beans and rice.
Macaroni and cheese. We have red beans and rice. We have sausage options, as well as tofu and meat. We have some of the best hamburgers available in town. It's all fresh hand-formed patties with brioche buns and served with a side salad. We don't really have a deep fryer, so we try and provide healthy food. We offer a variety of different kinds of sides of fruit or salads instead of deep fried French fries. So we do try and provide a healthy set of options. We also have various specials that are available based on what's local, what's fresh, and what's available from our local farmers.
How extravagant do you get on your dishes? Do you have a specialty dish? Do you have, like meatloaf? Do you have a special lamb dish? Or how specialized do you get in your offering?
Yeah, we have a regular menu that is here every day, but the menu can change because somebody has an extra zucchini or sweet corn or something, and we'll say, bring it on down. Oh, really? And that will literally affect what we're able to serve that day or the next day. One of the things we're doing now is offering bowls, a large bowl, and I think we have eight different bowls. And those menu items are pretty stable. from a vegetarian option to a meat option. But if we have something fresh that is given to us or on sale, we're able to easily incorporate that into the menu that day. And every day has a special bowl, depending on what we have most fresh and most economical.
And we are committed to support our local farmers and local suppliers. So not only do we have locally brewed beers, we have locally roasted coffee, we have locally grown vegetables, we use local suppliers for meat
and for spirits.
And so we are committed to be a good citizen of the community, and we think that there's a move forward now on food sourcing, not just to eat more healthy and organic, but eat more local, to reduce the carbon footprint of the food that you consume, and also to rely more on the artisan farmer than on the mass industrial farming production that goes on around the world. So that does increase our cost of goods a little bit, but because over half our staff are volunteers, we are able to maintain a very competitive price. All of our menu items are less than $10, and the quality compares with things that you might pay $10 or $15 for anywhere else in town. Just remember, volunteers is a key part of what makes Common Table successful. Over 60% of our staffing right now is through volunteers. Whether you're washing dishes or peeling potatoes or cutting up onions or serving the meal or washing the windows or the floors or serving behind the bar, those are all volunteer opportunities at Common Table. And not only do you get the feeling of supporting Common Table through serving, but you become part of the community and feel the connection with all the people that come in at all economic levels. So we have people that come in to volunteer just because they're out of work and want to have time, or people that need community service hours because of a legal issue they may have had, or people that just want to be part of the community. So people serve for many different reasons, but it's the lifeblood of Common Table is our volunteer corps.
So do you need more volunteers, and is there any special category that you need help in?
We always need volunteers. We're looking for people right now that are willing to commit to a 3 or 4 hour shift once a week, whether it's at lunch or dinner, whether it's serving in the front or dishwashing or preparing food. We need people that are willing to commit to a team basis on a regular schedule. And that's really the key. If you have any questions about how to volunteer at Common Table, you can go to our website, which is commontable.net, or go to our Facebook page, Facebook/Common Table, and send us an email at info@commontable.net, or give us a call at the restaurant. All those are ways to connect, to be a volunteer at Common Table, or just come on in.
So what are your hours, speaking of coming on in? You're not open for breakfast, but you are open for lunch and dinner?
Yeah, we're basically open 11 o'clock every day for lunch.
For customers.
For customers. So 11 o'clock for lunch. If you want special arrangements for a catering operation, we can do things off hours. But the restaurant itself opens at 11. We're open for lunch all afternoon through dinner, and we close about 8 or 9 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and we're open till 10 o'clock on Friday and Saturday nights.
So for food prep, you probably need volunteers to come in a little earlier. So
yes.
if people are watching and they want to get involved maybe in some food preparation, you start that at what, 9, 10?
Depends on the days. We got actually a catering thing going on for 30 lunches that will be delivered at 8:30 Thursday morning. So we need people to come in early on Thursday to help prepare. So it'll vary depending on what we're doing, what events, and what kind of catering opportunities we have. But Common Table provides what we call ecologically sensitive catering. So instead of delivering plastic or paper, we use regular plates, silverware, cloth napkins, glassware in all of our external catering, so that everything comes back to Common Table to be washed and reused. So we pride ourselves on committing to an environmentally stable type of catering service.
And our real hope with volunteers is that their experience here helps change the society as well. That it isn't just give me 4 hours and we'll put you in the dishwasher, or we'll have you be a dishwasher. We won't put you in it, but so that experience is
volunteer.
Well, some we'll put in the dishwasher.
Okay.
But the actual experience of volunteering helps change the society and be an act of love for our fellow brothers and sisters, whatever they are, the county commissioner or the street person. So that this culture we're trying to change starts here with our staff and volunteers, and then hopefully will affect growth and change and openness within the greater Bend culture.
Now, you mentioned that Common Table is one of about 15 or 16 nonprofit restaurants in the country, in the United States.
Well, we're aware of there are 16 nonprofits that we know of in the United States doing something like this. So this is really a grand experiment. And I'm really proud to be a member of Bend where this experiment is happening, and thus far successful.
How is this a growing kind of offering? In there's 16, but are you noticing it's growing slowly?
I don't know that.
Yeah, it is growing slowly. There's a understanding that we can no longer rely on governments, we can no longer rely on institutions, or even some of the major foundations around the country and the world to meet the needs of a local community. The local communities need to be able to gather, organize, and rise up to meet their own requirements and needs. And I think that is the growing edge of the commitment of communities to be more inclusive of everybody and meet the needs of everybody together, rather than relying on somebody out there to solve the problem. And it's tapping into that understanding, I think, that's beginning to create these opportunities around the country. As more and more of these types of restaurants where it's pay what you want, or have a special set of meals that are free, or have a vouchers that go out, or whatever it might be, people are able to see how that benefits the community and want to do more of it. So I think as the word gets out, there was actually a review on one of the major TV stations about this a few weeks ago. There's a big chain restaurant called Panera Bread, which does lunch services all over the country. And they now have set up a nonprofit wing where they have 3 restaurants open today on a pure pay what you want basis. So it's not just small local communities, but corporations and foundations are beginning to see the wisdom of gathering people together to meet a need, rather than relying on money coming in or donation-based support for these kind of services.
I think a great example is one you shared earlier in the show about the dialogue between the county commissioner and a homeless person, where the original or the initial attempt to try to fix a problem is to throw money at it.
Right.
We'll build a big building for the homeless, and the homeless are saying, we just need a place where, a safe place that you're not going to chase us out, where we can pitch our tent. And people in government positions, or even maybe ourselves, would think, wow, I'd really thought about that. But when talking to somebody who actually is living in that environment, and that dialogue occurred around the common table.
Right. And I think that it is that not only just serving people, but listening and making them part of your community changes everybody. And I think it's that wisdom that underlies the true potential of a common table-like environment. We believe that all nonprofits should look at a for-profit subset to help fund them. So if you're in a homeless shelter environment, you should be in the hotel business, allow people to subsidize the hotel environment, and then offer a certain percentage of that housing to people in need. Even the Red Cross, maybe could go into disaster insurance as opposed to just disaster relief, and charge people, for insurance capabilities for rebuilding their houses or stuff. And you should have a wing of a slightly for-profit instead of just relying on donations. You can talk about what happened to the local Red Cross chapter in the last year from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, all nonprofits, as you mentioned, I think
yeah.
earlier, are having a hard time raising adequate funds. And I understand here in Central Oregon, there's a larger percentage of nonprofits than in most locations.
And when times get tough, one of the things you cut out of your budget is donations.
Right, and there has been a winnowing of, or a selective failure, as I say, of nonprofits here. The Red Cross has faced that same thing, in which I'm involved. In terms of operating funds, if there's a disaster, the National and International Red Cross would respond and help for a catastrophic thing like, say, Hurricane Irene in the Northeast.
Right.
That same response would happen here. But it's the day-to-day operations for the Common Table or for the Red Cross that there's just nothing quite sexy about keeping the doors open.
No.
To help this homeless person might be easier to raise money for than to say, hey, let's address the whole homeless thing. Instead of just say, here's a fish, why don't we talk about how teach everyone how to fish? And that which is more addressing the systemic issue, which we think we're trying to do here at Common Table, needs systemic support. not government necessarily, nor private, nor just individuals, but for this to happen, this kind of experiment, creating a safe, hospitable place for different people of class and to meet over excellent food, has to have the support of the greater community or it won't survive.
Now, have you talked to any of the other 16 nonprofit restaurants in the country? What's been their experience?
Yeah, we actually have, there was a woman that was here for about 2 weeks, Denise Satera, who is kind of the national coordinator for this network of nonprofits. She actually started one of the first restaurants in the Salt Lake City area and has worked with one in Denver called So That All May Eat, or One World Cafe. And she's now set up a nonprofit organization to help be consulting to these different organizations. But the stories are different in each community because they're basically raising out of the community needs. It may be a church in one community, it may be a co-op in another community, it may be a disaster relief kind of organization in a different community. There's even one in New Jersey now that was started by John Bon Jovi. So he's now seen this and is moving into that community as well. So celebrities are beginning to recognize this need, not just to go over to Africa and get publicity, but to meet the needs of their local communities.
Okay. So, website once again for Common Table.
It's www.commontable.net. The Facebook page is Facebook/Common Table. And email is info at commontable.net.
And the phone number?
The phone number is 541-639-5546.
Okay, and then the hours of operation again?
We're open from 11 a.m. for lunch through dinner on Tuesday, Wednesday till 8 or 9 o'clock, and on Friday and Saturday till 10.
Okay, and come on down. And again, what they want to stress is, if you're just looking for a quality restaurant, you want to come have a very nice, family, amiable atmosphere. Music sometimes, often. And if you want to drink, just come on down and rub elbows with your fellow citizens here in Bend. We're all around the common table. We do want to remind you that tomorrow on our show we're going to be in Prineville once again. We're going to be talking to Pastor John Freeman, kind of the same theme continuing. He pastors two churches in the Prineville area. One's called Church on the Hill, and we're going to be talking to John about Church on the Hill and the other church that he's involved with. But Church on the Hill is interesting, and it's designed for the unchurched. It's designed for people that otherwise wouldn't go into a church. And so John says a lot of times during a service, people they have a question, and so in the middle of the service they'll say, "Hey, I got a question here," and they'll stop and they'll talk about it. So it's kind of a give and take. People that come there, it's a very unconventional church. So we're going to be talking to John about that, and we're going to be broadcasting live from Prineville tomorrow morning. If you have any questions of me, you can email me at dave@evm1.info. That's dave@evm1.info. And we are working on a Facebook page as well. We have one up for TJN, the Jesus Network, and one for Operation Eagle's Wings as well. Our goal with this morning show is to get it out into the community, find out what's going on, have these discussions, and especially what we've found that has happened here in the media in Central Oregon, and especially on some of these nonprofit issues and Christian issues and veterans issues to some extent. We need to have more dialogue. We need to have some conversation about what's going on in some areas that are very important to our society. So that's one of the goals of the morning show here. It's Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. and plans are to expand it slightly, and more details about that coming up. This Friday, now we should also mention that Thursday we will not have a morning show because we'll be traveling to Ontario, Oregon because of the scheduling we've had to do to do what we're going to do over there. We're actually going to do a concert 6 p.m. at Lions Park in Ontario, Oregon, Thursday night. So it'll be a Thursday night concert. It's a fundraiser for our missions trip to New Zealand. We're going to be leaving October 26th, coming back November 14th. One of the places we're going to be going to is Christchurch, which has been impacted by the earthquakes. And we're going to be going to Auckland, Huntly, Whitianga, which is 3 hours south of Auckland, and do an outreach in Christchurch. One of the places we want to go is Ground Zero. some places in Christchurch, some of the business districts downtown have been abandoned because they've had thousands of aftershocks and they can't keep rebuilding the buildings because they keep falling. And so some of the citizens are moving out of the area. Some of the areas of downtown have been abandoned. One of the challenges that people are telling us is it's the most difficult. We spoke to a Maori pastor down there. He said, Dave, one of the biggest challenges we have is the uncertainty, because it's like waiting for the other shoe to fall. The ground starts to shake and you don't know if it's going to be bigger than the last one, if buildings are going to fall, and it's just that living on what's going to happen next. And even for those that are strong in faith, and like the Maoris are Pacific Islanders, and they're very, very tough people. But he said, Dave, it's trying. Over the long haul, it gets to be exhausting. And so some people are leaving the area. So we're going to be doing a ground zero ministry. You can go to our website, tjn1.tv. That's www.tjn1.tv for more information on Light the Fire New Zealand. So Friday morning show is going to be live from Ontario. We're going to be talking to Love Inc., Love in the Name of Christ. And it's an effort where churches have come together in Southwest Idaho and Eastern Oregon to reach the homeless and to reach those that are challenged. We're also going to be talking to Ōrita Veterans Advocates. The show is going to be broadcast right next to the Kinney and Keel hardware store in Ontario, which is the home base for Ōrita Veterans Advocates. The goal is to take the show on the road. We're going to be doing a lot of shows in Central Oregon, but this Friday we're going to be in Ontario. In the future we'll be in other areas like Portland, Salem. When we're in New Zealand, we'll be doing a show from there as well, or shows from there. So, Tom.
Dave, thank you.
Thank you. Bob.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
God bless you guys for what you do, and keep it up, and look forward to having other conversations, and looking forward to being around the common table, and maybe if it's appropriate, we can possibly webcast some of those interchanges. Some of them may not be appropriate to webcast, but some might, and we'll have to have a conversation about that.
Got to keep in touch.
There you go.
If Common Table is a stranger to you, come on down. We'd love to welcome you.
Okay. If you want to watch this webcast again, simply go to our website, tjn1.info, and later this morning you will find it on one of the player windows down below, and then we'll also working on an archive link on the website. You can also do a YouTube search for Common Table Bend, and you'll be able to find the YouTube video. So,
thanks, Dave.
God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
You have a good day, and we'll catch you later tomorrow morning from Prineville, 7 a.m. I'm Dave Adams, TJN, the Jesus Network. It's time to change the planet, and Operation Eagle's Wings, honoring all who served and leaving no one behind. Have a great day.